All right. So officially we're recording. So let me start over. Welcome everybody, and thank you for being with us either on Friday night or Saturday morning, depend where you are. We will be talking today in two parts. The first part is a quick presentation with questions and answers, and then we will have a quick demo with questions and answer. The focus of the webinar today, or the discussion today, is on managing a project element. Now, what does it mean? If we zoom in, the platform, it continues to evolve. The Uruk platform will consist of 6 elements. As you can see here, the governance, portfolio, program, project, administrative, and community. And the purpose of the color coding is the green are the things that are ready now. Although, of course, ready for early adopter. That means there are a lot of opportunities for enhancement, especially on the managing a project element. Whereas the governance, the other 3 colors are future development that they are part of the Uruk program, which we are developing over the next 2 to 3 years. But today we are going to focus on the managing a project element. I'm not going to be talking about anything else. If we look at the overview of the project, how do we manage a project basically? And the idea here is that to manage project using the Uruk platform, we have divided the element into 4 functional centers, as you can see here. The project setup, the PLC management function, PM function, and other action. Now, I will explain each one of them. The first thing we must do is that for any new project, we must enter it into the system. So we have to go, of course, any user will be able to go on the Uruk platform and add a new project. That's the first step that we can do. And I will be demonstrating some of these actions a little bit later. So any user can do that. However, that project will go into something that we are calling the parking lot. That means it goes there on hold until a senior manager or a project sponsor will go in and do the next step, which is activating the project. And that allow us, organization to enter a project from their strategic plan to basically build a backlog of project. So the parking lot, in a way, is a backlog of project, if we want to use that terminology. And project would remain there until someone activate them. And in case down the road, management decide to put the project on hold, the project will go back to the parking lot, waiting until we activate it again. So we add a new project, we activate a new project. At that time, the sponsor who activates the project will have to name someone to lead the project management. So a project manager. The project manager will be able to access the project, edit the information, and then select a tailored method. Now, unfortunately, today, there is only one tailored method, but that functionality is there. But down the road, there will be more tailored method built into the system. So there will be a selection process. And for every tailored method that we will be building, we have a schedule template in order to help the project manager save time. We give them basically all the work packages that we have built into Uruk, into an MS project template, so they can use it and modify it for their own need. With this, now we will have the project set up in Uruk, and we're ready to start managing the project. And that's where we have what we are calling the PLC management, which is managing the project life cycle end to end. And for this, we are using the for the first tailored method, we are using the CAMP standard model, which has 9 stages. And as you can see them here, they go from the concept stage all the way to the close stage. Now, this is the standard model. Of course, we can tailor this, and future tailored method could have more or less stages. Could have different name of stages. So this is part of what we talk about tailoring in the Uruk platform. So that part, this is the part of the platform that we will be tailoring based on the type of the project you'll be managing. So if you're managing marketing project, you should see a life cycle that are suitable for marketing project. If you do facilities project, same technology, HR, whatever type of project, over time, we will be building those tailored methods in the system. So this would look different depend on what tailored method you are selecting to work on. Now, what we are building in Uruk is the PLC management, the lifecycle management with the workflow, all the stages, the stage deliverable templates are all built in, the stage gate, and also the processes to manage every stage. Because every stage, depending on the size of the project, could be a mini project in a way, right? And it could be substantial. In some construction project implementation stage, I mean, even the definition stage could be maybe 12 months duration. So we have to manage every stage. And depend on the complexity of the project, the management of the stage would vary. Again, we're not going to go into a lot of detail right now, but basically, this is one center. So we have 9 modules in here. Now we know when we manage project, if we want to manage project holistically from end to end, from across the life cycle, we still have to manage what PMI called knowledge areas and what ISO called subject areas, which we call project management function: the cost, the scope, the schedule, the earned value, the change management, the quality management. So we have grouped these functions into 5 core areas, as you can see in the middle layer here. But on the outer layer, you see there are 50. Right now we plan to have 15 modules. Now, each module, it could be a mini software by itself. For the early version, these modules are very basic. They don't have much functionalities there except to be able to enter the key data so we can generate performance metrics. Because the assumption is that we might be still managing, we might be doing scheduling outside Uruk. We might be doing estimating or cost control outside Uruk, but we will be able to link it here. So there are 15 center or 15 modules in the project management function. Now, the color coding is that basically the green one, the green one are the ones that are ready today. And the orange one are the ones that will be ready within the next few weeks. And the blue one on the outer circle, those are still not built, and they will be built in the future. So by the end of this year, we should have about nine out of the 15 will be operational, but as we said, basic functionalities. In addition to managing, so we manage the life cycle, we manage the function, we also have other action. As you work on project, obviously we have issues we have to manage. We have task management, we have project funding, we have performance assessment and dashboard, we have captured lessons, we have project success. So here we have 6 action at this time, or 6 module we are building. And in this case, the gray are ready now, and the orange are what will be ready within the next few weeks before the end of the year for sure. Actually, they've already built, but we have not gone live with them yet. Now, if we see everything, that technically this circle kind of shows everything I have just talked about summarized, but let me zoom in here. This is the same information. However, in a hierarchical form. So we see the managing a project element at top level. At level 1, we have the 4 functional center, which is the setup, the PLC, the functions, and other action. And underneath each one of them are the modules that are either being built already or future. And the color coding here, that means the green is ready for early adopter, which means now. The blue is basically we already have as basic functionality, or at least we will have within the next few weeks, and the orange is future. So in a way, if we look at some of the data here, there are 37 modules, second bullet here, there are 37 modules in total here. And the first releases, we will include one tailored method, as I've mentioned already. The green, there are 16 modules here that are ready for us now. And there are 12 modules with basic functionalities that are there. And we have 9 modules that are future. That basically, these are only for the managing a project element. We have not talked about administrative, we have not talked about the community of practice or the portfolio management or the managing a program. All of these will be future. So here, right now, based on the current vision, there are 37 modules that we are building to help us manage a project. Of course, depend on the size, type, and complexity of the project. Some of these could be very basic, whereas in some other areas, these could be huge. And they could require a lot of work, especially when we start getting into industrial, large, complex project and the millions of dollars. A couple more slides, and we will be done with this part. If we like to look, some people like to look at numbers. I do. So if we look at the numbers based on, as we mentioned, elements, we use the term element for the highest level in the platform. We envision to have 6, and of course that could go down up more. It could go up to 7 or even 8 down the road. But right now, what we have in our head and in our planning, in our vision, in our program is 6 planned elements. 3 of them are ready now. Functional center is a term we use, as I mentioned, like for the managing a project element, there are 4 functional centers there. We have planned, we envision 19, we have 9 ready. Modules, like I showed you, 37 modules for the managing a project. Right now, we envision more than 67. And the reason we put a plus there, because some areas are still not fully developed yet, so we don't even know. Later on, we could add module or we could combine module as we get deeper into the future development. Right now, we will have 32 available. In terms of document templates, forms, they are built into Uruk. These are not necessarily, something like an attachment. They are actually built in. Most of them are built into Uruk, or template we give you to download. There are 43 already being built in, and we envision to have more than 100. In terms of dashboard element, we should have about 31 in the early edition, and we expect to have more than 100 dashboard element for the project and the portfolio level. In terms of tailored method, we have 1 right now, but we envision to have 20 plus. In closing, and in this section here, said, okay, what differentiate Uruk from different software that exists in the market? Based on our knowledge, right? Based on our knowledge of what exists in the market that are available for companies and organizations to purchase or subscribe to. Not a single software in the market today that offer PLC management, which is a methodological approach for product development. So in reality, Uruk is not a project management per se, right? It's much wider than this. It includes portfolio management, but primarily the SOCAD camp methodology is about building product, not just managing. So it's not limited to the management aspect or the management action of a project. It's about the product development, which means it integrates with the organization and is a PLC management. So basically we manage project across the life cycle, all the way from idea to closure. Again, unless it's built in, some companies, they have built something like this for themselves. We are not aware of any commercial product that is offering this. If anybody knows of something that, and we're wrong, I would love to, if you can put it in the chat or email me and share with us that information. Tailoring. I know the PMBOK, especially the 7th edition and other literature on project management, they talk a lot about tailoring. But no one is offering us a ready solution. Here we are offering a ready methodological approach that integrate product development with project management, but we are only offering tailoring. So basically, as we move forward, we will be adding a lot of tailored methods. So basically, as a user, you can go online, if you join Uruk, and you want to work on a marketing project, you will log in, and by that time, if we have that built in, you will be able to find a life cycle model that are similar to, that are appropriate for marketing project that you will be able to use instead of having to use something from construction. If you want to work on a training or academic project, you will be able to find a life cycle model that's suitable. Now, again, these life cycle and model and methodologies in tailored method are not built in right now, but we are building them over time. And if a client come to us today and said, look, I want something like this, but you don't have it ready, the way we are designing the software is that we probably need to spend some time with the client, discuss their life cycle, discuss their model, and most likely within few weeks, we can build their tailored method into the system. And then everything else will still be there because, obviously the cost, the scheduling, the uncertainty management, the communication, all of that stuff is built in. So the only thing that will be different is the life cycle model, and we will be able to build it very quickly because we have all the components. So that the power of tailoring is there for us and is available to provide to our client. Again, there are numerous products in the market that cover task management or specific function, cost, scheduling. Obviously, if you come from the oil and gas, Aspen technology is very powerful estimating tool. In scheduling, everybody knows about MS Project and Primavera or P6. There are some tools for procurement, there are tools for quality, there are tools for collaboration, but very few tools offer integration across the board. I know if you use Primavera or MS Project, in a way you are integrating cost with schedule with earned value, but doesn't necessarily integrate well with other areas. In a way here, we are integrating all these functions with the lifecycle management with tailored method. And the last point we want to highlight today, I mean, there are many other points, is that our approach requires managing multiple dimensions. And so what is about that? We manage, if it hasn't been obvious yet, we are managing across the life cycle, and that's what we call the project level. So when we manage project for a project owner or anybody who is developing a product, we manage all the way from inception to closure across division and department. The project could be moving from one department to another, but everything could be done in Uruk. So we are managing the PLC, the life cycle. We manage at the stage level, right? Because every stage has to be managed. The success of the project depends on the success of every stage. We screw up one stage, we screw up the project. Or we might be able to correct it later, but at a higher cost and maybe delays and everything else. So it's very important to do every stage right. We manage the project management function. And also, we have the other supporting functions such as the task management, the issues management, and those areas. We think these are the key 4 of the major areas that differentiate Uruk from other products that exist in the market. Obviously, Uruk is not replacing something like scheduling, like MS Project or Primavera, right? So there are many tools down the road. There are potential that we could integrate with them. But we summarize the information in Uruk. We will be able to keep all the project information, the file to document inside Uruk. We will be able to generate the dashboard, the metrics, the reporting in Uruk, right? Although we could be using some specialized software from outside Uruk and integrate with it. So down the road, we could have a lot of integration as well. A very important point that I left at the end here, all of this happening in real time. For those of us who come from oil and gas or background industrial, sometimes we wait to the month's end, and it takes a few days to generate report, and especially on paper. And by the time the report comes, so many things are already out of date. So many things could have happened. Here is in real time, which means an executive, a project manager, a senior manager, a division manager, at any point in time, any time of the day, from any device, from anywhere, they can access and see all the project as they are happening in real time. Obviously, the best news is that the software is available. Actually, if you go today and you use the domain name for the platform, you will see something like this. The website is live, but we still did not officially release it yet because we still have to do some setup on the admin panel side, and that should be done early next week. So by the end of next week, we should be you should probably see announcement from us that the system is live and ready to be used by early adopter. And we are already talking to a few potential organizations, and they are showing interest in the platform. Of course, to stay in touch, you can follow Sukat Corp, or you can follow the Uruk Platform. We have LinkedIn pages, and you can find me there, and you can find us through those platforms. I'm gonna stop sharing and give an opportunity for a few questions, if any. Let me see on the chat. Luke, go ahead.
Hi, Munir. Just can you hear me well?
Yes,
As a suggestion, you're going to do a demo after this?
Yeah, quick demo.
Yeah, could you do the demo as a separate recording, perhaps, to have the more shorter recordings, which perhaps is more manageable for people to look through?
Sure, I can stop this after the question and answer here, and then we will record again.
Great, thank you.
There's a question here: when selecting a tailored method in the chat, how does the user know which method does what to assist in the choice? In the beginning, obviously, we don't have a choice. We have one method. But down the road, we will be providing a tailored method that have 5 different settings. Obviously, industry type. So if you are a utility company or an oil and gas company or a banking company, you should be able, and again, I'm talking about down the road, so please don't expect something like this in January, right? But once we build a lot of these tailored methods, so we will have, depend on the industry and domain, the project type. Now, is a project type as well? Is it an IT project? It's a finance project? It's a marketing project? It's a construction project? And then we have also another factor called size and complexity. So let's talk about real estate development. Yeah, you want to build a house, or your project is to build a house. That could be a facility project, right? Because we are at the end, we are going to end up with a facility. But that could be a small, simple project versus building a residential tower, or maybe a shopping mall or an airport. So there is a degree of complexity. Now, in terms of life cycles, the life cycle might be identical or very similar, but the level of work and the effort and maybe the number of deliverables that are required will vary. So when you go in, if you know the type of your project, I mean, obviously you should know the type of the project, you should be able to find a project that is similar. And if one that is not, you don't find one similar because we haven't built it yet, obviously we can tailor it, as I had mentioned earlier. Also, one variable that affects project is a delivery approach, right? So basically, if let's say you are working on a project and your project is suitable to do it iteratively or incremental, right? You will be able to find that, okay, my project is that I'm going to have to deliver the product at the end in one big chunk. I call it Big Bang, right? I have to deliver the house as a house, otherwise people cannot live in it. So that is a Big Bang. So we do all the development work, the engineering, the construction until the house is ready to hand it over. However, if I'm working on a software project or maybe a training curriculum and I can do it in increment, right? Then we can select, say, okay, based on the type of the product, this project, I will be using iterative development or incremental development or Big Bang development. So these are part of the tailoring. Now, later on, we will need some consultancy, because when we decide on the complexity of the project, that is highly functional and directly related to the type of the company and the type of organization and the type of the project you do. So when I say small, simple, in oil and gas, small, simple could be $2 million. In IT, $2 million could be a large complex, right? So the terminologies that I was using, small, simple, or medium, moderate, complexity, or large and complex, is a function of the type of the project and the domain. So that requires some work and some and a consultancy engagement to design a questionnaire. So the vision is you go onto the software, and if your project, you don't know all the detail about your project, you will be able to go and answer a few questions, and the system would recommend a tailored method for you. Okay. Now you have the choice to accept it or reject it. Obviously, if you are new to project management into Uruk, you probably need a lot of hand-holding. You probably would want to depend on what Uruk is suggesting for you. But as you build confidence and you build experience and you know the system well, then you would know. Also, some organization, maybe they use only one type of project. So obviously in that case, they would just have access to one methodology. They don't need to have 20 methodologies if they don't use them. So this is one way how to select tailored method. Okay. Any other question? Because I think these are the only question. There is a question about, can you interface with other scheduling cost management tool like MS Project and P6? Actually, today we do link to MS Project, but right now it's only one-way communication, right? So we download, and I will show you how to do that. We download information from Project, but the intention down the road, we should have full synchronization with MS Project or Primavera. And also with other tools. I mean, later on, we need to come up with also full integration with Excel and other features. And the same thing that also, where we don't have integration, I mean, one of the problem, for example, in cost management is that in construction industry, they have very sophisticated system for cost management and cost control. In other industries, cost control is very basic. So depend on the industry, you might find everything you need built into Uruk. We will be building a lot of stuff inside Uruk. But however, if you need something that is highly sophisticated and highly specialized in your industry, it doesn't make sense for us to build it if there is an existing product in the market. So one thing we can work with is look for collaboration or system integration, where we can integrate, and then you will have access to that. I think these are the questions in the chat. We are on time, so I can give anybody have a question to ask before we close this part. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay.